definitely just have to get the best out of every opportunity you can. This is my life's work to get me to this point in my life. Well, actually, I start my university 4th year of my degree on Monday.
Wow.
And I remember going up to the communal showers and being absolutely terrified. Blind self-confidence, I think, is what I rely on for my whole life. And I went, and I'd say I overjumped the double by about 10 foot and I landed straight in my forehead. And keep him alive. He'll tell all his friends, oh, he's sound in there. He'll not kill us. So,
hello. Welcome to Off Track. I'm your host, Dave Neal. Welcome to Alton Park. More importantly, welcome Astro JJR Racing, RHYS IRWIN.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome, mate.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
It's not what you said before we came on air.
I think I'm a bit nervous. I've never done something like this before, so you can't be too sore on me.
I'll be fine with you. I've done loads of these. They're easy.
Yeah,
honestly.
I'd be more worried about this than the actual racing.
You've been going well with that this season, mate. It's been good to see you at the sharp end and winning races and having fun. You look like you've been enjoying it.
Yeah, thank you. It's been going, I'll be honest, going brilliant, to be honest. Probably going as good as I could possibly have expected to coming into the year. So yeah, I'm really happy. I've managed to win my my first British Supersport race this year. I've won at Brands, won at Knockhill, had a good few podiums and stuff, which I'm delighted with. And then also even at the Donington World Supersport round when I'm in the wildcard, I was able to get points. So yeah, I've surpassed anything that I could have possibly wanted to do this year. I've done,
which is fantastic. And how's the approach been to this season? Because you did your time at Macadam, Appleyard Macadam Racing on the R6, and the rules changed a little bit, and now you're on the GSX R750. It's almost like you've gone back 10 years in terms of the bike. It's an incredible piece of kit to do what you do. But tell us about the last couple of seasons in British Supersport for RHYS IRWIN.
Well, this is my 3rd season in British Supersport, and I came into the Supersport after I did the COVID season in Stock 6. That was my first year in 600, so I did them 6 races, and then kind of got fast-tracked, or I just sort of went straight down to Supersport with Appleyard. And when I came into Supersport, without getting into everything too much, I would say I didn't really get the bounce of the ball, and things didn't really go to plan, and there was not everything was maybe as it seemed, and not everything was how I would have wanted it to be and everything. And then so I bounced into Appleyard to Astro JJR, then with the Triumph last year, and then it was another, we'll say, a character developing year on the next generation on the Triumph and stuff. And yeah, I just kind of, over them 2 years, I grew a lot as a person. I matured a lot. Obviously, I'm still quite young, so I matured a lot in a short space of time. So yeah, and I think this year I've just been in the position to extract as much as I can from the opportunity that I got, because that's one thing I definitely learned over the 2 years, that you definitely just have to get the best out of every opportunity you can.
It's a difficult paddock to operate in sometimes, isn't it? Things, like you say, we've heard it over the years, sometimes things just don't stack up the way that you anticipated, and for whatever reason. We're no finger pointing or anything. It's racing. It's what happens. But what doesn't kick you out of the sport makes you stronger. And the beauty of it is, as you said, that you're a different rider now and a different person, more experienced. And that's so important in this paddock, to become experienced really quickly, even for the negative things.
Definitely. I would say, especially last year, that even in the moment, it was the worst thing in the world. I was pulling my hair out. The whole world was crashing down around me. I thought, this is it. How is anything going to get any better? This is it. And then 12 months on, I couldn't be in a better place. I couldn't be happier. I couldn't have done any more. And I think I had to do the bad bit to be where I am now. But I also think that in the moment you think that the world's just ending, and then when something always pops up, and then it gets better, and then because you've had it, you're in the position to extract as much as you can out of it. And I think that's just this year. I'm just trying to get as much as I can out of everything, and try to get everything out of every opportunity that I get. And that's been the mantra this year, we'll say.
The bad days make the good days brighter, don't they?
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it, and that's what it is. So what do you know about yourself now that you didn't back then? Straight in with a question.
So you're gonna have to fast forward this when you're editing it. What do I know about myself? I'll be honest. And again, I don't want to sound, but I always knew that I could win, and I always knew, and I never ever didn't think that I could win, and I could, run the front and challenge a championship. But as I said, I just don't think the ball bounced for me the first couple of years. So I never thought that I wasn't good enough to do it. I just thought that all the stars hadn't aligned, or I think stars aligned even too much. I don't think the stars have to align for me to win. I just think that I need at least something to sort of bounce my way, and I think that's why this year, even though things haven't been perfect most days, and I've still managed to get results on days, get podiums on days that I didn't feel good, and then days that I did feel brilliant, I was able to win. So yeah, I'd say that's what I learned about myself. Just that I didn't learn anything new. I just proved to myself what I always believed in.
That's more important than anything.
Yeah.
Proving to yourself that you can do it. So tell me about that first win. Talk me through that race, because I mean, with everybody at home and listening on audio and on the video as well, your post-race interviews are just brilliant, and it's that enthusiasm is so fucking refreshing.
Well, see, it's everyone says to me about me interviews and stuff, and honestly, I've never once tried to be anything, or I've never once even thought about it until I'd done a couple of them and people started saying it to me. But I think it's just more that I put that, like, as I said in one of my interviews, this is my life's work to get me to this point in my life. And when I come in off the bike and I'm just like, I feel on top of the world, and they just put a microphone in my face, and I would say that is the most real RHYS IRWIN you're ever going to get, because I don't have a chance to, start thinking or start, thinking about everything outside of what's just happened. And I think that's more just that I'm not even in control. See, 30 seconds after the interview, I'm like, what the hell did I say?
But I'm such a big fan, and the same with Brad Peary last year. I'm such a big fan of riders being themselves on the TV, because from a fan's point of view, which is all I am, I'm just lucky I get to do this. But from a fan's point of view, from a sponsor's point of view, to see that enthusiasm of being on the podium, I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're third or whether you win, your enthusiasm is still the same. And it's so infectious and so good to see it, because you see some riders, they're like, yeah, okay, that was all right, it was good, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, do the other, which is fine, because everybody's different. But to have that proper smile, that infectious enthusiasm after a race, don't ever change.
Yeah, thank you. But as I said, I was nervous sort of before this, because I've never done anything like this before. Whereas I don't even have time to get nervous before then to be shaky. He's just there and he's going, what was that like? And I'm like, oh. I just kind of say the first thing that pops into my head.
And now you've known about this for 3 weeks.
Yes, I've had all weeks to think, oh, geez, don't say anything stupid.
But it doesn't matter. And this is the joy of doing what we do, is people get to see the real you.
Yeah.
We've been doing this a while, and it's not about throwing anybody under the bus. It's not about finding out the bad side of things. A lot of the listeners and viewers want to know the bad side of things, because it's natural. Hang on, I'm even wrapped up here. There we go. It's natural.
I do really love listening to like podcasts and stuff of other racers, even other athletes and everything. But I always think that when a rider retires and they do something and then they're able to just go nuts and they say everything that happened, I always love them towards the podcast, because
you and me both.
Yeah, they don't care about upsetting anyone, because it's just sort of as they went through their career, and they open up a bit more when they're not, they don't have to worry about anyone.
Everybody has a story to tell, whether it's this paddock, World Superbikes, MotoGP. There are hundreds of stories like yours last year before. Yeah. There are so many. It's just the nature of what we do and how the sport operates. Sometimes it's not pretty. But to have a breath of fresh air with a lot of riders that are here now. I mean, I have an awful lot of time for Tom Booth-Amos. We had Tom on at Brands Hatch. 2 completely different podium interviews you couldn't wish for. But 2 completely different characters.
Yeah.
But I have all the time in the world for both of you.
Yeah.
And you can't help your own character. And that comes across in the racing, and you can almost see on the bike how much you're enjoying yourself, like the battles you've had with Ben, our co-host. And you're watching it, and I'm like, I want Ben to win, but I'd really like RHYS to win as well, because he's such a good kid. He's like, fuck, can you not both come over the line together? Just let's have a dead heat or something.
Yeah.
And I think
a dead heat, both of us would hit that.
I think so too. So remind me, how old are you now?
21.
So you've got so much time ahead of you. This is the beauty of it. And doing what you do now and putting basically a championship challenge together is fantastic on a bike that is older.
Yeah.
And effective. I mean, who came back a couple of seasons ago? Who was it?
Lathy,
Was
maybe.
it Emily Latty, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Used to rock up at Assen
Yeah.
on a 10-year-old GSXR and go, ha ha, I'll take that big big gold trophy.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Careful, let him.
But yeah, and now you're doing it as well. How is the bike to ride for you? How much are you enjoying being on the GSXR 750?
Oh, I'll be honest, like, as again, not to dwell or talk, bring anything up, but I think like last year I just really appreciated the Suzuki and all of its shortfalls. I was just so happy that I felt like I had something to work with. That's almost terrible to say, but I even though there's loads of things not perfect with it, I just think I just need to get all the strength out of it, and I think that's what I do quite well. I ride the strengths of the bike, because with the way the balancing and stuff has worked, they've made it, they've sort of taken away some of I would say, what I thought it was going to be like coming into it. So the bike, I really have to ride the bike like a two-stroke. I have to keep all momentum up and keep it going, because it doesn't have much torque and doesn't punch out of the corners that good. But that's, if I know that and I can ride to that, I'm happy enough. I'm not complaining. So yeah, it's been going good. It's better than I've expected it to be. As you asked earlier about like my first race when at Knockhill, and I would say at the start of the year, even though I said earlier that I'd never had any doubt that I'd be able to win and stuff coming into the championship, that I hadn't maybe been as strong as this before championship and stuff. I'll be honest, at the start of the year I was just obsessed with winning a race. Every race I was like, I need to win a race, need to win a race, need to win a race. And then when I had that at Knockhill, I was just such a relief, because I was so obsessed with winning a race. And then I kept getting podiums, and then I kept winning races, and now all of a sudden I'm here and I'm in the sort of championship battling. It's just a nice position to be in.
Did you feel any pressure when you were at McAdams, with the history that they had with Rory as a champion, and Brad was pushing on for the championship, and Brad Jones before that? They got such a rich history. And did you put yourself under any due pressure for that, because this is the Supersport, along with Gearlink and Astro, they're one of the Supersport teams to be in? How did that help you grow as a rider?
I think because I was in the British Talent Cup of 2019 on a Moto 3, and then sort of the end of that year I didn't have much, so I pulled my brother's old R6 out, and I said, sure, I'll go do the 6 races during the COVID season, and then sure, maybe the next year I'll do something. And that stock 6 year went really well. I won 3 or 4 races, and because we only had 6 races, it was condensed, so I didn't get a lot of time to really learn. I wish I had a full championship that year, but we'll not get into that. I finished second in that championship, but then I kind of went straight to Supersport, and because I didn't do a full year in stock 6, or I didn't get a chance to do a full season of 600, I feel like I didn't get a chance to really figure it out. Like, I think I done like Snetterton, whatever 3 tracks we had that year on the bounce, where I didn't even change the gearing. I just got there, rocked up, and put fuel in it, and went.
Like Snet, Brands, and here or something.
Yeah,
like
well,
3 really different circuits.
So then when I came into Supersport, it was like, whoa, I can't just put fuel in it and go. But no, I don't think I had much pressure, because I think like Robin and the boys, they knew how little experience I had, and how little I'd done on these bikes, and again just how young I was, because I was quite young then, and then I hadn't much experience. So I don't think they had any pressure on me, because I think they knew realistically that I wasn't going to do a Jack or a Rory, because I needed time to do that. And then I didn't, obviously myself, because obviously you come off winning and stuff and you think, sure, I'm just going to keep winning now. And then you don't. I didn't have pressure on myself because I thought I should be winning. I had pressure on myself because I wanted to win more than anything else in the world.
That's what you're here for.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's all part of learning, isn't it?
I think so. And it's such a difficult transition as well from a Moto 3 to normal. If you were to do it, if you were to have a plan, let's say, and the finance to do it, you'd come off the NSR at sort of 16, 17, a couple of seasons in stock 6, get used to the weight and the different lines and everything else, then go Supersport because you've got an extra race and you've got an extra session, and so goes the expense as well. But to do it on the fast track that you have, I think makes it even more impressive, because when riders are at your point now, they've usually done at least 2 seasons in stock 6.
And then I never
before
really
they
got
stepped
that,
to Supersport.
And then I think that's why when I came to Supersport, it just took me a wee while to just kind of find my feet.
Yeah.
And then obviously other things held me back then. When I feel like I did find my feet, other things held me back. And then obviously now I'm in the position now, because I would be a firm believer that you can't pick your opportunities. in life, and especially not in this sport. And I think that you'd have to do everything you can with the opportunities you get, and when something pops up, you have to grab with both hands.
100%.
And I think you can't pick what you want to do. You just have to, whatever pops up, just you take it and run with it.
Because if you don't,
someone else will.
Somebody else is going to.
And then unfortunately in this sport, you don't know when someone else's misfortune is going to give you an opportunity.
No.
There's plenty of examples where you see someone would leave a team or someone would do something, and then someone gets another opportunity to jump up, and you go, oh, is it too soon? But if they didn't do it then, they might not have got the opportunity when they're ready. So again, you can't pick your opportunities.
No, you can't say, no, I'm not ready for that yet.
Yeah.
You've got to go in. It's like going for your dream job.
Yeah.
And then go, actually, do you know what? I'll learn it when I get it.
Yeah.
I'll do what I'm doing now, and then I'll learn on the job when I get it.
I think I spend my whole life winging it.
You and me both. I don't tell anybody while I'm doing this, but spent 10 years in this paddock winging it.
Yeah.
And nobody's caught up with me yet, so just keep doing that. Myself and Chris Palmer at Express Coffee, he's one of my best mates. And he helped us out right in the early days and introduced us into the paddock and introduced us to people. And we have it's not a fake company, because it sounds like an imaginary company. It sounds, if we've got a fake company, it sounds like we're putting money through it. We're not. We have this imaginary company called Wing It Enterprises.
Yeah.
Because that's all we do.
Yeah.
We just wing it. I haven't got where I am today by not winging it.
Even outside of racing and work, everything, I just go into everything, convince myself I can do it. Blind self-confidence, I think, is what I rely on for my whole life.
There's nothing wrong with that. I could do with a bit of that. We spoke about this with Christian Idden last week. I could do with a bit of blind confidence. So what do you do away from the circuit? What's Monday to Friday?
University at the minute. Well, actually, I start my university 4th year of my degree on Monday.
Wow.
So I get off the boat. I will go from here. I drive all night. I get back. So I'm Donegal, west coast of Ireland. I am almost in America. And so by the time I get home, it'll be like, if we just drive straight, it'll be pretty much, but this one's not too bad because it's fairly close to the boat. But it's normally, we get the 2 o'clock boat from Holyhead home, and then you get that boat, you get off at 6 in the morning, so you get a couple hours on the boat to try and shut your eyes, and we drive about 4 and a bit hours to Donegal. So I'm like way up here, and then I go literally straight from that into uni or into work. But then I'm lucky enough that I'm studying to be a quantity surveyor, and then a local construction consultancy company, I work for them, so I get 1 day a week whenever my university timetable gives me a day off, and then also during the summer I was able to work with them. So I do that, and then also I work in a bar as well. Whenever I'm feeling useless, I'll go work in the bar, and then I'll just be like, oh, I need to be a motorbike racer.
Then you're looking at your peers, and you're looking out into the bar, and you're like, nah,
it's not for me.
It's not for me.
I don't drink. I've never drank in my life, and somehow I work in a bar. We'll see. One of my best friends worked in a bar. And then he was like, one night, we're stuck for staff. And I was like, well, I'm stuck for money. So I'll come in. And I'd never pulled a pint, never knew how to do any of that stuff. And I just winged it. Blind self-confidence.
Blind self-confidence. This is what we all need more of. We need blind self-confidence. The world would be a better place if we were all just a little bit more Rhys Irwin. Do you not reckon? I think that's the way it should be. Do you not think that?
Oh, I don't know.
I think the world would be a happier place.
A few more me is probably the last thing we need.
I don't think so, not at all. Tell me about your background in racing then, because from the Republic of Ireland, we've got Jack Kennedy, who's over here. He's ploughed his furrow here beautifully, that we had on the show last week when we were back at Cadwell. What influence has he had? And Eugene runs under the Tricolor as well. So tell me about your background and your inspirations.
Well, as I said, I grew up like far over the west coast of Ireland. So there was a local motocross championship, which is what I started doing. But I spent because my brother is a bit older than me, he started racing motocross. So I was riding PW50s and
he's just behind the camera there.
PW50s, KTM 50s, and stuff at like around the beach and around sand dunes or something, because obviously I live quite close to the coast. And then started going motocross, and my local motocross championship was the Errigal Motocross Championship. And I just, to be honest, I kind of snowballed. I just kind of went 50 and then started winning a bit, and then you go to 65 to win a bit. I think I won the Donegal Championship or the Errigal Championship when I was on a 65, and I got a perpetual trophy, and it had Michael Laverty's name on it from whatever year. I can't remember, Michael, sorry. But I just kind of snowballed. I started race motocross for years then, all through, came up to the Irish Championship, Ulster Championship. Did everything come up to that until I was on 85. I can't remember now. I think I won between sort of club and national championships. I don't want to sound like I won a good few championships at home in motocross.
This podcast is about you,
Yeah.
right? So you tell us about you. You don't come across as anything. It's your background, mate. It's your history. This is how you do it.
Won quite a few championships of motocross, and I was a motocross kid growing up. I love motocross, still do to this day. I stay up to 4 o'clock in the morning to watch Anaheim 1 every year, and I don't miss it. I stayed up to whatever time to watch that super motocross thing. A motocross kid growing up, and then because my brother was a couple of years older than me, I was always very fortunate that he would go into class, sort of learn it, figure out. Because obviously my dad, he had a bit of a background in motorbikes, but obviously not really motocross and stuff. He actually raced sidecars on the roads back in the day. And when him and mum had Keelan, she was like, no more road racing. And for mum, to be fair, I feel like she would have rather me do anything other than motorbike racing. But to be fair, she's always been brilliant. She's always really supportive and stuff. But yeah, where was I? Yeah, come up to motocross. And then my brother, he kind of got hurt a couple of times. And obviously dad's background would have been more track racing, road bikes, sidecars and stuff. And then obviously my brother got hurt a couple of times, got knocked out. And then one year for Christmas, Santa brought a Aprilia RS 125 for Keelan. And he went to do that, and then I was racing motocross. So that year I was riding it was the local Husqvarna dealer at home. So it was the HTM off-road Husqvarna. And the start of the year, broke my wrist, missed the first round of all the championships, and I think that year I ended up winning 4 out of the 5 championships at home. Ryan Mawhinney actually won the other one, I think, if I remember right. He went on to win a British motocross championship. And then that year mum was taking me motocrossing, and dad was going circuit racing with Keelan in the Irish short circuit championship. And then I went a couple races with him, and I was like, you know what, this is brilliant. This so same thing. Then that next year I got the Aprilia 125 handed down to me, and then we just kind of both went. Then we went to Superstitions. Then there was a guy, Trevor Scott, who would have known dad back in the day from working on bikes and stuff back in the olden days. And I kind of went and did Superstitions with him and dad and Keelan. We all had a trucking and on, and we all kind of mucked in together. That was good as well, because that is another example of me growing up really fast. I was 12. I remember going to Brands Hatch. My first time ever at a race was Brands Hatch, and I remember going up to the communal showers and being absolutely terrified because at Thundersport they raced the CB 500s then, and I remember going up there and being absolutely traumatized, and I had to do a whole year, because back then I had long hair down to here, long bright blonde hair. I was a bit naive, we'll say, but I wasn't naive. I was probably a normal 12-year-old or 11, 12-year-old, and then again grew up real quick that year. 125. I'd wrecked a couple.
Not as quick as you grow up in Brands Hatch showers.
No, I wrecked a couple of Aprilia 125s and done my normal Superteam stuff. And then the next year I was who was it? Me and Jack Scott went for the championship, and again second in that championship by 1 point at the end of it. Won a load of races, and what do I do next? Oh, and then I feel like I'm just rambling on here and I'm burning the ears off you. Because I'm trying to think, because as I'm thinking, stuff's coming into my head.
It's the joy of a podcast.
Yeah,
we've got all the time in the world.
And then through the winter then of sort of I was going to race the Aprilia 450 challenge. Was the RV 450 Cup it was back then. And I was playing rugby with Ulster at the time, and I was also boxing at home at a fairly decent, I played rugby at a fairly good level of boxing. I was just getting punched a lot. And
that's not the idea though, is it?
I was quite good. I'll blindside confidence. And I remember I broke my leg really badly that Christmas week, and I'd done a week in hospital, and I have like screws and stuff. And then I sort of came back through that year and missed the start of the year because I think I broke my tibia, fibia, ankle, growth plate. It was kind of nasty. One of them ones I remember lying on the pitch, and like my knee was up and my foot was there. I was like, whoa. And because I was playing out of my age group as well.
Okay.
Wasn't even with the Ulster rugby that I got hurt. It was with my local club. And because they were like, oh, he's quite good, sure, we'll play him with the big boys. And then sure, didn't end well.
And they're heavy as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I sort of came back in the middle of that year on the Aprilia 450, done I think maybe 2 rounds of the 450, the British Championship. But I done a good couple races at home that year at Mondello, and I broke the lap record, the lightweight supersport lap record and stuff at home. And the British Talent Cup selection event came up then in whenever. So that was my TT. You know, I had that week circled. I was like, right, that's the plan there. So I went there, fired up, got into the British Talent Cup, probably the best day of my life. Standing there, Alberto Pudge, RHYS IRWIN, I'll never forget it. And then from that point, then I hadn't touched rugby ball since. I hadn't been boxing that much since because my ankle, I couldn't do much. And I sold all, because at this point I still had motocross bikes and stuff, because I was still, even though I loved Super Teens and I loved all that stuff, I still had my 85 and I still had stuff, because you're young, you think the whole world is at your feet. So I still was convinced that I could do whatever I wanted. And in the British Talent Cup, I sold all my motocross bikes, got everything. I was just we got the motorcycle in Union of Ireland, the motorcycle in Ireland got me a Moto 3, so invested everything to try and go to Spain a couple of times and ride the Moto 3 to just be as prepared as I could for the British Talent Cup. And then done the British Talent Cup for, when was it? 18-19, wasn't it? Yeah, 18-19. Yeah. But that was when it was the Dorna British Talent Cup. So I arrived and they had everything there. So I just had my own bike for
on the white bikes.
Yeah, white bikes. That Alpine Star leathers. Jeez, I felt like Marquez.
Proper rock star.
I was Conor McGregor walking around the place. and then I done that. And then, as I said, I've sort of joined back up to the back of the story now. I kind of, British Talent Cup was good. Again, I would say that 2 years, it was the best 2 years of my life. I think it's a massive loss that it's gone to the format it is now, because it really was. It was unbelievable. I've never learned as much. I never worked with so many amazing people at such a young age. Like, if it wasn't for the British Talent Cup, I might have went back to motocross, or I might have stayed racing at home, and then God knows it just kind of gave me a toe in the hole to, and I think it forced me to mature a lot, because I knew how big it was, and I knew it was just brilliant. It gave me a real insight of how this works and how hard you have to work and the way everything works. And that was brilliant, because then, as I said, I sort of had a few podiums and stuff, and we got to race the Brno Grand Prix, the Valencia Grand Prix, Silverstone Grand Prix, World Superbikes, and that was just brilliant. And then when I got off it on 600 stock 6, I flew straight away, won races and stuff. And I think as well, in the British Talent Cup, I am this present moment in time, I'm 21, and I'm about 67 kilos. And when I was 16 in the British Talent Cup, I was also about 66 kilos. And unfortunately, in them wee bikes, this is without leathers on, and that it just didn't really sit. Obviously now I'm good weight, I'm lean, I'm as fit as I've ever been. And it just didn't work. And I think that's why when I get on the bigger bike, I clicked with it a bit better. But yeah, again, I feel like I've rambled on there for about half an hour. But yeah, that's kind of a good background. Again, if we were doing one of these 4-hour-long podcasts, I could break you into all them stories and stuff. But
the beauty of it is, and this is why I was really keen to talk to you, because now you've made that step to race winner, and people are seeing you on the TV, and they've maybe not followed British Talent Cup as we did all the years ago. Rory in it in 18, and Josh and Storm and Scott and Fenton Seabright, all the lads.
That was all my class.
That was class of 18 and 19.
4th or 5th in the championship. I can't remember, because I tied on points with Brian Hart, and I remember it was like me, Fenton, Ogden, Jack Nixon.
Jack as well.
There was a good, and there was a good crop of, I'd say, about maybe 8 of us. And now, if you look at all of us, are all at the front of BSB. So I think when they did it, they definitely did get in the original selection event, I think they did get the best 20 at the time.
Do you know what? I couldn't agree more. We don't get a chance to talk about that too much, because it's the way it is now. Like you say, it isn't what it was for BTC. But that 18 and 19, the talent that have come out of it, that are the future of British and our British and Irish racers.
And I think it helped us. Future. It helped us a lot, because the way, I learned massively, the way you have to train, the way you have to approach a weekend. Cause me, Dad, and Keelan, my brother, were rocking up out of the back of a van and going racing, and we're just kind of winging it. Again, as I said, winging it is sort of that's going to be the title of this, isn't it?
It's going to get you so far.
And but then when you go there, you learn how it works. You learn the systems. You learn what works. You learn why they do stuff. You learn what it's like. Why Danny, the rider coach, he says stuff. And I remember he used to always say about he come up to Dad, and obviously I crashed a bit in the first year, because obviously I was so, I don't want to say overwhelmed, but I remember thinking, these guys have all raced BSB before. I'm coming from the Mandela Masters, Irish Championship, and I remember I went to the first round, and I think I qualified fourth. It was pissing rain in the Donington that year, and I qualified fourth. And I remember I wanted to get everything out of it that I could. I remember Danny Ribalta, he was brilliant. He was the rider coach, and I remember him come up and dad, and he goes, he does not race with this, he races with this. I think that summed up my whole sort of coming through.
But it got you where you needed to be.
Yeah.
And then you start to learn the sport, and then you start to understand more about it. But what it's done is kept that enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And that is so, so good.
I don't think you could ever kill the enthusiasm in me.
No chance. No chance. It's already brightened my day up, you know. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. What does the future hold? Do we know?
Again, another one of my things, as I said earlier, you can't pick your opportunities. At this present moment in time, the only thing that I am worried about is getting as much as I can out of this opportunity. And whatever pops up, I'll grab with both hands. Fingers crossed something pops up. Or I don't know. I'm in a fantastic team now with fantastic people that I love, and I couldn't have asked for a better team to do this with. Like, cause I remember when I won at Knockhill, I came in and all my mechanics, all the boys in the team were all crying. They were, and I just thought, like, this is just brilliant. Like, they're all volunteers. They all work well, and I love them to bits. And I think that was a great way to sort of get me going and stuff, because they all care and they're so enthusiastic and they all care about it so much. And again, what was the question again? Oh, what the future holds? Yeah, I am. But yeah, you can't pick your opportunities, and I think that I'll get as much as I can out of this now, and then I will get everything I can out of it, and then whatever pops up, grab both hands.
Beautifully answered. Beautifully answered. And one thing you need to do is in your next TV interviews, and when he comes to see you on the grid and stuff like that, he's going to want 20% ish. He's a big fan. You can see that.
Well, I think if you told 10-year-old Rhys that you and Shaky would be friends, he'd be pretty pumped. He'd be 10-year-old Rhys would be happy.
50-year-old David. I see him around quite a bit, and we've become good friends in the paddock, working with Brad last year and what have you. And he always gives me a hug in the paddock. And like, this is just fucking nuts. Even doing this it's nuts. I still love it.
Brilliant, isn't he?
Still love it. It's good. Let's go on to some other questions. And we're looking.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting a heads up.
I've got the answers as well.
No.
Look, there is any right answers to these ones.
The only answers are whatever you give me. This is the beauty of it. There are no right or wrong answers. And with not having Jennifer here to do the random number, or the dick roller, as Christian called it, she's had to work, unfortunately. One of us has to work for a living. Let's have a look. So I can choose these now. This is the beauty of it. Okay, here's a good one. What does your morning routine look like?
When I'm going to work, or like a normal day I'm not working?
Generally.
When I'm going to work, I feel like it's very boring. I'll wake up at around 7:30ish, go straight to the shower, get breakfast, and then go to work.
There isn't a wrong answer.
Some days I'll try, if it's sunny and stuff, I'll try maybe squeeze in the train before work, but it's hard because I always feel like if I train before work, I'll start falling asleep at work, and then I'll start falling asleep at work because I'm a quantity surveyor, so I work in an office, and I'll be looking at the screen just nodding off, and I know if I do something before work. Some days I go to the gym and stuff before work, but same thing again, I'll start falling asleep.
If there was one question that I could ask you that I haven't already, what would it be?
Don't know. That's
a beauty of a question, that, isn't it? That's a beauty of a question. I don't think I've tried that one yet. I love that one.
How much are you going to pay me?
So, there you go. Okay, that's fine. You can have 10% of whatever the podcast makes. Yeah. And our most popular one so far made £30.
Yeah, so no skipping the ads.
So no, don't skip the ads. Don't skip the ads. They're important. This is what helps us do what we do.
Yeah. I might be able to get a Happy Meal on the way home.
What's your most embarrassing moment?
Oh, embarrassing moment. Embarrassing. So remember I talked about the first year in the 125 when I went to Super Teens with Trevor Scott and the boys. So that year, Trevor was running a 550 Aprilia in Super Twins, and Jamie Coward and Sean Anderson were riding at the TT. So obviously we did Thundersport Cadwell, and we went from Thundersport Cadwell. We slept in the awning because the vans were at the TT. So we slept in an awning on the ground, and then we went straight to the TT. And I remember as the TT for 2.5 weeks, I was 12. Obviously, I was loving every bit of it. I used to run down St. Indian's Crossroads when the boys were going off. And I remember about a weekend, because if anyone's been to the TT, they'll know there's like a BMX track below the paddock. And obviously I was going, I'm over here with no bicycle or nothing. This is shite. Look at them. I was young, and Jamie Carr goes, oh, well, I have a bicycle, you can have a lend of it. And I went down, and I must have been there about 5 minutes, and there's like a double, and I was like, oh, I've got this, no bother. And as I was cycling up the double, I was hard as I could, because the bike was a bit too big on me. Foot slipped off the peg, and I like landed on like the crossbar. And as I landed on the crossbar, it like preloaded, like, you know, if you seat bounce a motocross bike. And I went, and I'd say I overjumped the double by about 10 foot, and I landed straight in my forehead. So I was all blood down my face. I had bright blonde hair, so I'm going darker now with age. And
we all do.
Blood everywhere, all in my face, all my hands and everything. And I was like, I can't go back up to these, because they said do not crash the bike and don't get hurt. So I went up into the TT. They have like a toilet block in the middle of the paddock.
Yep.
And I remember going into that, trying to clean the blood off my face and everything, and going, oh, if they find out, it's going to be a balls. Then I remember coming out of the bathroom, and obviously didn't do a good job of cleaning myself up, and the boys all caught me, and that was pretty much... I'd complained about not having a bicycle for a week, and then I got to about 10 minutes, and I went just wrecked myself. I was sore, and I was cut, and I was all...
Absolutely brilliant. You see, they're the joys of these
I
questions.
probably have way worse ones, but I don't know why that just popped into my head.
But that's the one that came out first, so that's fine. No, that works. I don't know. The one I've asked a couple of times, which has worked quite well. When you're in the car and you're on your own, you know what's coming with this. You've watched the podcast. You turned up to 12.
Yeah.
What are you listening to? And will I have heard of it?
You probably will have. Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not even going to try and pretend like I'm into classic music and try and make myself sound like I've got great taste. I'd be a big sort of Kanye West, Mac Miller, maybe J. Cole, but yeah, Kanye West, Mac Miller. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm probably forgetting loads, but yeah, that there kind of.
No idea.
You don't get that, you know,
no
Kanye
idea.
Or you know Kanye West.
I know Kanye West,
yeah.
but the other two, I have not
there's probably loads. You know Mac Miller as well. He's good.
Mark Miller, the American racer.
No. I'm trying to think, what else have I got? See, I would flick through a lot of different stuff on Spotify.
Yeah.
So if I went onto my Spotify likes, there's like 1,200 songs, and it could be a mix of anything. But if I had, like, I'm trying to think to my Spotify Wrapped last year. If you probably know Spotify Wrapped.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was like Mac Miller, Kanye West, Jack Harlow, real generic, young 20-year-old boy music.
Whereas mine comes out with Jason Aldean and Luke Combs and people like that, and Jordan Davis is going to happen this year as well. So I have that country thing going on, which I absolutely love. Have I got some? Oh, I have got some over the page. This is good. Do you have any superstitions?
Yeah, it would be superstitious.
Go on,
again, I would try not to dwell on this stuff too much, because I remember seeing a Conor McGregor clip, and he goes, superstition is just another form of fear, and it's stuff you're trying to control, stuff you can't control. And I remember saying, you know what, Conor's right there, so I can't be too much of a woman about this. But I wear grey boxers on race weekends, and I get on the bike from the left side, and I bless myself. Obviously I'm Irish, and I'd bless myself, and I would do all that stuff before on start line and stuff. So I wouldn't say superstitious, just more to have my routine.
It's a routine. That's good. I don't understand people who get on the bike from the right-hand side.
Yeah.
I can't do it. All the times I can only get on a bike from the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Keelan, what about you? You nodding? Left-hand side? It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
not
weird.
Anybody can get on it from the right-hand side.
But see, a lot of my stuff comes from, like, will have been somewhere. Where's somewhere do you get on the right side? Maybe here. Probably here at one point in my life. We'll have been on pit lane, I'll have been on from the right side, and I'll have destroyed everything, and then I'll have been like, but that's what it was. I got on the bike.
You can pull it back to that's the one point that it was. It was getting on the wrong side of the bike.
Stupid stuff. I try my best not to, obviously I hate spiders with a passion. If you're going to ask me biggest fear, I don't like spiders, I don't like insects, I don't like anything.
That's my next question.
Yeah. So, but I try on race against, I'll not kill any spiders.
What, like that one there? There was one dangling there earlier on, but it was
if
only
it's a wee
tiny.
tiny one, we'll let him live. See, in my bedroom. Tiny. So what I've started doing at home to try and grow as a person is, if they're in the house somewhere, I'll try get them outside. See, when they're in my bedroom, that's my zone. They're done. Don't go in the bedroom.
That's end of days.
Because when I was younger, I had this theory that if I have a spider in my room and I take him out of my room and keep him alive, he'll tell all his friends, oh, he's sound in there. He'll not kill us. So I decided that if I just killed them all when they come into my room, that then all his friends would be like, oh, John went in there and he didn't come out. We're not going in there. That's what my theory was, but obviously as I get a bit older, it doesn't work.
I think that theory works. And we're into September now as well, and it's spider time, isn't it? The last week or so.
I was in the car the last day and I went open the wee flicky. I have drive Ford Fiesta sports car.
Nice.
So when I flick open the wee thing, I put my hand and there was a big spider. I almost died.
See, there you go. This is the biggest fear. Right, like the 2 questions that I'm going to finish off with.
What was it?
What's your favourite corner and why?
Favorite corner? The turn into Park Fermi where the podium is.
No, nobody has ever given that before. That's a brilliant answer. That's good. I never even considered that.
Turn into Park Fermi. That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to think where else. Bruno was good.
Smart ass. That's a really good answer.
Park Fermi, yeah. We'll go with that one. Because I remember I did a chat show when I was younger at the Cookstown. It was like a wee motorbike show they do at home. And they did a chat show when they were doing quick fire questions. Like Josh Brooks, I think Dean Harrison was there. This is 2015 or 16. And they did quick fire questions. They come to me and they go, what's the hardest thing in motorbike racing? And I said the ground. And ever since then, I've been trying to. I think that's probably my best. Quick.
That's a great answer. Answering quick fire questions. That's the hardest thing in motorcycle racing. And the last one, as we always do, especially with guests for the first time, what's your best hire car story?
Hire car. I will say, because obviously when you get the likes of, say, like Jack, for example, like they would have done World Supersport and stuff, they had a lot of hire cars. So I wouldn't really have many. But I do remember I went to the Red Bull Rookie Selection event in whatever year. And me and my dad, I'd went over. It was the first time we'd ever got the full insurance. And I remember we were coming out of, we'll see, that's a 2-part story. So in Guadix, it was where the track is. If you've ever been to Guadix, they sleep in caves. So all the houses are into the side of caves and stuff. So we got there and like, obviously we were winging it. And me and Dad landed in a hire car. They booked the accommodation after we landed. It was like a local cave. And so I couldn't stay in that night. So we slept in the hire car that night. But then I remember at the cave, you had like we called it the Bat Cave. So you had like a wee crappy wee road to get up onto it. And then, but at the bottom, it was like it wasn't smooth. It was like this. And one of the days, it was actually me driving. And whatever happened, I hit it. And I was like, oh, geez, the bumper will be easy that. And the next day, Dad had it flat out and the bumper fell off. And I said, Dad, we need to go back at the bumper. And he goes, no, it's fully insured. We'll just leave it. But apart from that, I can't really think of, I wouldn't say I have, because anytime I've sort of been, because I've been doing British Championship and stuff. Oh, obviously the British Talent Cup when you're flying into. Yeah. Then we'd hire cars there, and there's a lot of wrecking on the 5th gears to 1st gears, and a lot of an underage RHYS driving. And but a lot of mine we would have drove from for tests and stuff in the winter. We'd have drove from Ireland to Spain. Yeah. We'd have got the boat from Rosslare on the top of Spain. So I've always been driving my own van. So I've been driving like an angel.
As you do, you look after it when it's yours. That's the way. RHYS, thank you.
Thank you.
What an absolute pleasure, mate. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I know that the ladies and gentlemen watching and on the audio side of it as well, they'll love this. I don't need to do the subtitles. Everything will be fine. I wish you all the best for the weekend and for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
And let's do this again, either at the bike show or early next year, see how the progress goes. And if some news comes out between now and then, we can do a catch up as well. But all the best, mate. And
that'd
thank
be
you.
brilliant, because I think I've got, I've got looser as we went on. So I feel like if we got like a good long one, I'd be telling you all my life secrets in about 20 minutes time.
Best stop now then for the time being.
I think because there's not people listening, you'd think it's like a private conversation, but then you remember loads of people are going to listen to this.
This is after, but they're not going to listen now. That's the difference. We're not going out live, so it's easy. But ladies and gentlemen, RHYS IRWIN.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, mate.